Thank you everybody so much for coming tonight to learn more about Colombia. We're going to be dancing and partying on the streets and learning a new culture. And I am so excited to present to you Carson, my partner from AmaWaterways, who's going to tell you everything about it and try to learn a few Spanish words. Take it away with Carson. I cannot hear you.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Sorry about that. I appreciate the comment. Yes, English is my first and only language, so apologies to anyone if I mispronounce any of these words and beautiful places we'll be talking about. But at the end of the day, the important thing is that ultimately I get the message across that this is an incredible experience and a real modern day adventure that'll take you back in time. So Sheyla, you're recording, we're good to go. And if anyone comes in a little late, that's fine. And like she said, everyone who's attending, if you have any questions, go ahead and just write it in the chat box. We will get to them at the end. And then finally, again, I do insist, if you do have questions, either write them down on a notepad or put them in the chat, because I will answer them at the end. But of course, I can't answer them if we don't remember them. So definitely write down the questions that you might have. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to take over the screen. Let's get going. And share screen. And boom. Okay.
All right.
We're good. We can see
I'm gonna hide myself so people pay attention to. There you go.
Okay, wonderful. And again, apologies everyone. I've got my little puppy locked away in the other room, so if you hear a little bit of barking, again, deepest apologies.
So it's not. No, it's like la competencia.
Okay, let's mute. Okay.
There we go.
There you go.
All right, so let's go ahead and begin. So again, I'm Carson Hobart. I'm with AmaWaterways, and I couldn't be happier and more pleased to be able to present this wonderful opportunity to you all. Really diving into this, I'm going to speak briefly about AmaWaterways in general, river cruising in general. Again, I don't know how familiar you all are with river cruising as compared to land travel or ocean cruising. So you'll get an education on all those things. And then toward the middle, toward the end, we'll dive deep into the itinerary, the details, and everything that you could possibly need to know about this wonderful group that Sheyla's putting together. And again, very excited to be sharing Colombia with you. That is the highlight. But again, I'm going to just run through AmaWaterways and river cruising in general. So what makes us different? What is the whole soul of AmaWaterways and the experiences that our guests have on board? It's the people. It's how you interact, it's how you feel with not only our staff, but the other guests on board, and more importantly, with the individuals and the relationships you build in those destinations. With AmaWaterways, it's all about getting you into the heart of those countries and really experiencing it more like a traveler and less like a tourist. And we can really do that for you, and I'm excited to share how. Diving into a little bit of history with us, we are family owned and operated. We've been around for 22 years. We've actually got Christine and Rudy. They're at the top. They are the co-founders of the company. And then, of course, there's Gary on the bottom right with his family, overlooking the Danube, just outside of Germany there. The three of them got together a long time ago and decided to create AmaWaterways River Cruising. Now, for those of you that are very familiar with ocean cruising, what's the difference between river cruising and ocean cruising? The simplest way I can explain it is that oceans take you to countries, rivers take you through them. And the reason why that's a big difference is because in all the places that we travel, the rivers for thousands of years were the thoroughfares, the highways of civilization, of the stories of that history, and all the places you want to be are on the rivers. So again, it's a far more intimate experience, and really the destination is the destination, not the ship. You're not going to find water slides and theme parks and things like that on our ships because the focus of our adventures are the countries and the people that we're visiting. So let's go ahead and dive in real quickly. We do travel all over the world. A majority of our product is in Europe. Obviously, Europe has a lot of rivers to choose from. We've got Austria, the Czech Republic, France is very popular, and of course, Portugal. Don't forget Portugal on the bottom left there. All of these are very popular year-round. However, again, today we're going to be focusing more on the exotics. We've got South America, Colombia. I'll talk about that in depth shortly. Asia, we've got Vietnam and Cambodia. Africa, South Africa, and then of course, Egypt, 3 nights in Cairo, 7 nights on the Nile. So again, we are a global company and we do a great job in every single destination we go. So, a question I always get, why AmaWaterways? What makes us different than the other river cruises out there? Really, the biggest and foremost point is the unparalleled service. I always like to talk about the difference between hardware and software. On board our ships, the software is there, the people, the relationships, the experiences, and just the fact that you feel like you're a part of the family when you're on board. You're not a customer, you're a guest in our home. And, just to give you a couple of examples of that unparalleled service, typically day one, you tell the serving staff how you like to take your coffee. You never have to tell them again because they remember. Very friendly, and you're going to make fast friends with them. And they're all wonderful, wonderful people. And then, of course, we have a wellness program. We were one of the first companies out there to invest in a wellness program. So if you want to wake up early and do some yoga, bicycling, pickleball, all that stuff, we have gyms on board. You should not have to cancel your healthcare routine just because you're on vacation. We have all these wonderful opportunities and services for you. That being said, by no means do you have to wake up early and do these things. It's just there for you if you do decide that you want to enjoy. The cultural exchange, that's the whole point of these experiences. We want to bring these people on board the ships so you can experience them while you're dining or whatever the case might be. And we want to get you off the ship into their homes and get to know them from that local standpoint. So the cultural exchange is paramount with us. The shore excursions, typically we have 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, and they're all included. That's a big difference between us and the other guys out there. Being that they're all included, you don't have to worry about how much money it costs or anything. You can just decide which one you love, which one you're most interested in. And of course, you can pick your pace. If you want to go slow, we've got a slow group. If you want to go fast and active, we've got a fast and active group. So that ultimately everyone on the entire trip is traveling the way that they like to travel. And that's why we really emphasize the small groups and that sort of all-inclusive kind of nature with regard to our shore excursions. So again, the idea is to get you out there and to have adventures. Talking about bicycling, we were one of the first cruises out there to do bikes. So there's really no better way to explore destinations than by bicycling through them. And again, it's very romantic. So if you and your partner want to jump on a couple of bikes and go back to that little restaurant that you passed on one of those excursions and grab a bite to eat and a drink, again, no better way to experience these wonderful places we go. Talking about eating, talking about all the different things that you can really enjoy while you're on the ship. We're very proud to be Champ de Rôtisseur certified. What that is basically an exclusive invite-only culinary club and school. What that means is that we that stamp guarantees exquisite food on our ships. You will not be disappointed. You'll love the food. And the reason why we can guarantee that is because by having that stamp of approval, that certification, we attract the best chefs from all over the world to leave their restaurants and cook on board our ships so they too can have that on their resumes. And ultimately, they can have a little bit of that glory and a little bit of that experience. So the food on board is just absolutely exquisite. Being that we're doing a virtual meeting, unfortunately, I can't show you some of the wonderful videos of our chefs preparing these exquisite meals because unfortunately it's a little glitchy and the volume doesn't line up, but you'll just have to use your imagination. In terms of how the experience looks on board the ship, we typically have one lounge, one restaurant. We have a sun deck. You can eat and take your coffee, your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, just about anywhere on the ship, especially in the privacy of your stateroom. That's absolutely doable. But the big highlight, every guest is guaranteed one seat at the chef's table. The chef's table is typically an 8-course meal, multiple wine pairings with the food. You've got the 3 forks on your left, the 6 spoons on your right, knives everywhere, and it's just a wonderful experience. Where you get to watch the chef create these incredible meals, all these courses with his staff. So this is very much the gastro highlight of the experience, and every one of our ships, including Colombia, has this on board. So again, lots of different ways to experience the cuisine. Talking about the food, the wine, the beer, and all that, we make sure that the food is local, it's authentic, and is farm to table. We don't have freezers on board our ships. Ice cream and gelato is the only thing that we have to freeze, but otherwise all the food is fresh, and it's usually collected that morning from a local market or something like that. So you can be assured that when you're eating on the ship, is going to be the exact same food that you'll find in town. And again, the food, the dishes, it evolves as we go down the path of the river. We really try to adhere to local traditions and local cuisines. So if this particular town is really well known for this beef stew, and this town is really known for their salad, we will have those on board the ship. Additionally, the beer, the wine, all of that is going to be local as well. So again, you're really having that authentic experience both on and off of the ship. Now let's talk about the fleet, the ships themselves. In particular, we have 29 ships as of next year. We own 27 of them. Unfortunately, there's a few countries we sail that will not allow us to own ships as foreigners. But at the end of the day, we own every single ship, and we have designed every single ship in our fleet. That design allows us to really create the perfect vessel to take us through these destinations, whether it needs to be big staterooms or very nice flat ships to get under bridges through Europe. Whatever the case is, the ships are absolutely phenomenal and all designed by one of our founders, Rudy. So again, it's a fascinating experience. And again, every destination has a different ship. Little teaser, the Magdalena is one of the ships there on the right side. You can probably tell it's an artist rendition. The ship you'll be cruising in Colombia is brand new. In fact, it's not even finished as of today. It still needs to be painted and a few things. So you'll be one of the first people to sail on one of these incredible ships. But otherwise, the Amadalia in Egypt, Amadara in Cambodia, just beautiful, unique ships that are really decorated and designed around the destinations that we travel through. Now, the flagship of our fleet is the Alma Magna. It actually sails the Douro. This is in Europe. It's the first double-wide ship. We took a standard river cruise ship, doubled its width, and added 20% staterooms, so everyone has a lot more space. This is the only river in the world that is river cruising at this time that can accommodate a ship this big. And again, it's very nice. Just like a lot of our other ships, you have sky bars. This particular ship has a movie theater in it. And then, of course, every single one of our ships has a hair salon and spa. So the ladies can get all done up. If they've got a nice event planned or whatever the case might be, you can really get pretty. And of course, all of this is going to be on board. I suppose the simplest way I can describe it is, these ships are designed like floating luxury hotels. And the best part is you only have to unpack once, and the hotel takes you to all these different destinations. It's very convenient. And then, of course, our ships, we were the first ones to really have the twin balcony staterooms. So what that means is you're going to have one balcony where you can step outside and enjoy the fresh air. And then there's another balcony right next to it, either a French balcony or a Juliet balcony that opens up. So the whole wall, you have that outside fresh air coming in. And as you can see, a lot of space inside. Here's a few more pictures of a few of our different staterooms. And again, you can see that the accommodations are very nice. Everything you could possibly need and some, but absolutely nothing you don't need. And that's a big thing too, is yes, we want you to be comfortable in the stateroom, really enjoy your space. But again, the idea is to get out of the stateroom and explore the rest of the ship, and more importantly, explore the destination. So again, very beautiful staterooms and accommodations. Now let's talk about the destinations. Again, I'm moving quickly through this so I can focus more of my time on the incredible group that we are discussing tonight. But the different destinations we go to, as I mentioned, we've got a lot going on in Europe. There's a lot of different rivers, and depending on what you're looking for, there is an itinerary just for you. And then, of course, the Christmas markets. A little bit opposite of what we're talking about. The theme tonight is Colombia, but the Christmas markets in Europe are very popular. It's a wonderful way for families, children, grandparents to get together and experience old-time Christmas in Europe. And of course, the ships are decorated and there's the smell of baking cookies, but this is a wonderful, wonderful experience for families. The Mekong in Vietnam, this has a lot of air involved with it. We fly to northern Vietnam, we visit Ha Long Bay, Angkor Wat, Siem Reap. It's a very exotic destination. And in fact, we like to consider this actually the sister itinerary to Colombia, and I'll get into those reasons shortly. Egypt, again, very popular last year, very popular next year. Unfortunately, not so popular this year. It's unfortunate how the news is really making things out. But this is a very safe destination. We are still going there, and we would not be operating in a place if we felt it wasn't safe, first and foremost for our guests, and then secondly for our staff. So again, if you're interested in Egypt, next year is a great time to book it. And again, it's a very, very nice destination. And then Africa, very much a bucket list itinerary. As you can tell, we do travel all over the world, and we're very good with what we do. So that being said, Colombia, the land of 1,000 rhythms, we are the first river cruise company to have an itinerary in this destination. I'm sure after next year, maybe the year after that, we'll start to see the other guys building out itineraries in Colombia. But the really unique thing about this, for those of you that are not in the industry, for a river cruise company to go into a new country and develop from scratch new itineraries and building the ships in the country, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of time and energy. And just in fact, we had a company meeting this morning. Rudy and Christine are in Colombia as we speak, and they were actually meeting with the governor and the mayor of all these little towns and just making sure that everything we're doing is okay and is beneficial for the local people. We want to make sure that we're sustainable, but more importantly, we want to make sure that when we go into a destination, we preserve it and we honor the people and the traditions there. So again, very, very exciting to go into Colombia, and ultimately you would be one of the first people to do this particular cruise. Now, a fun fact that I actually learned this morning as well, Rudy, one of our founders, he's much older now, but back in 1975, he actually traveled to South America for a journalism assignment, and he designed his first ship here. It's a little bit of a joke, but the ship is that raft right there on the top left and the top right. That is where he got his love for river travel, and he is known in the industry as one of the grandfathers of river cruising. He's one of the first ones to design it and make it very exciting. Again, he's been in river cruising his whole life, even though AmaWaterways is relatively new in the past couple of decades. But again, South America has always been in his heart, and he really loves it. And he's super excited to be back, 50, 60 years later. Now, getting into specifics, right? Sheyla Adventure Travel, very exciting. She's going to be hosting the Colombia's Magdalena River. It's embarking 5/17 next year. So plenty of time, about a year from now, for you all to kind of figure out how you're going to make it work. And we're going to really walk you through the details and get you excited so that you can sign up with Sheyla and really have an adventure of a lifetime. So the Magdalena River, is the heart of Colombia. Is very much the heart, the arteries, is the lifeblood of the country. Why are we going to Colombia, right? Ultimately, when no one else is there, why are we the first ones to go? Lots of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, the traditional festivals, the culture, rich history is straight out of an adventure novel. Ultimately, it's a unique and exclusive travel destination. And really the big highlights is the food, the colors, the rich cuisine, the music, the blending of multiple cultures. We're talking Europe, South America, the Caribbean, North America. It's really a melting pot of all these wonderful traditions to ultimately create something unique and different and new, something you will not find anywhere else on the planet. Again, Colombia is very, very safe. We have been traveling there, getting ready for this experience for a long time now. And I assure you, again, like I said, we never travel anywhere that we don't feel is safe. It's a very mythical destination. It's tropical, lots of enchantment and surprises, and really that warmth and exotic nature that you're going to find from not only the animals and the location, but the people. The majority of our product is in Europe, but I assure you this is pretty much the crown jewel of our experiences because it is so unique. It's a wonderful time. We travel north to south on the Magdalena River. And this country is really just a country of contrasts. Nowhere else on the world do you have the Andes meeting with the Caribbean, and just the differences between not only the elevation, but the cultures and the food. So I can't overemphasize just how incredible, colorful, and diverse this particular destination is. So here is where we sail. Obviously, a lot of the very popular destinations, but again, we are going to be traveling along the Magdalena River on the north portion of the country. So I'll dive into that in just a second. But again, the Spanish conquistadors came in and they named the river after, I believe, the conquistador's sister, Magdalena. So there's a lot of love going on there. And then, of course, the river basin extends across nearly a quarter of the entire country. Most of the population is on the river. So like I said, when you're traveling via river, you're guaranteed to experience just about everything there is to experience in these destinations. This country also has one of the more biologically diverse regions on the planet. Hundreds of varieties of fish, river turtles, tortoises, manatees, really exotic destination, and a lot to really, digest and enjoy. So, the other side of Magdalena is just this, the simple fact that there's so much artistry there. There's culture, but it goes beyond, right? You have wonderful museums, full of art, and a lot of the most famous artists on the planet did get a lot of inspiration from those contrasts I was describing to you early. Very rare in certain places on the planet, you can experience the colors, the vibrancy, the light, and the energy of this place. And again, lots of adventure, right? When you travel to a place like this, as compared to France or Germany, you're really feeling like you're one of the first conquistadors, one of the first adventurers going through this destination. This is Humboldt and Bonplan's in the Jungle. Edouard and Dor, he's one of the more popular and famous artists of the time. And again, we've got a few of his pieces that we're highlighting through the destination. So this is the ship. Like I said, it doesn't have paint on it, so you're getting an artist rendition of it. But we've got two ships. We've got the Ama Magdalena and the Ama Melodia. And they're magnificent, intimate 60-passenger river cruise ships, much smaller than any other river cruise that we've got in our fleet. 30 staterooms, so lots of space. There's a whirlpool on the sun deck. Like I said, a fitness room. There's a main restaurant, all regionally inspired Latin American cuisine and Western favorites. And then, of course, like I said, 62 passengers max. This is what it looks like for those of you that are all about the specifics and the data and what the ship looks like. As you can see, all the rooms are very large. They're very, very nice. We've got the luxury suites, the grand suites, and depending on what you're looking for, Sheyla can book you whatever it is that you want, whatever fits your needs. I get asked this all the time, which side of the ship is better, the front, the back, the left, the right? Unlike ocean cruising, doesn't matter which stateroom you're in. Obviously, if you're looking for that spacious suite, a lot of room, we do have the suites available. But because river cruising is so intimate, doesn't matter if you're on the right side or the left side of the ship, you're always 50 meters, to the bank, and you're never going to miss an incredible view. Additionally, most people like to hang out on the sun deck. They like to hang out in the main restaurant or in the wheelhouse with the captain. So again, the ships are very intimate, almost like private yachts. And again, these ships were built, they started being built in 2024. You're going to be one of the first ones on board. So again, the wonders of Colombia, and then we've got the magic of Colombia. This is actually the one that we'll be emphasizing today. Again, 7 nights from Barranquilla to Cartagena. This is the itinerary. Day 1, Day 2, Day 3, spend a little bit of time in Mompox, and then of course we've got El Banco, Calamar, and then we finish in Cartagena. So again, this is going to be a wonderful time. As you can see, we kind of overlap in a few places. We do a circle along Brazo de Mompox and Brazo de Loba, but again, this is one of the more unique itineraries that we offer. So let's go ahead and dive in. Barranquilla is a vibrant destination, right? Home to notable musicians, writers, and artists. And of course, we're going to be enjoying all the festivals. We make sure that we either have these folks coming on board or we go to them and dance in the streets with them. We guarantee a special carnival celebration, right? Bringing the full traditional experience, which is exclusive to AmaWaterways guests year round. So you can get the carnival experience by being an Ama guest, even though carnival is not happening. This is widely considered to be one of Colombia's most important folkloric celebrations. The Carnival of Barranquilla has been declared a UNESCO masterpiece of oral and intangible heritage of humanity. That's a mouthful, but all it's saying is that this tradition is now officially protected and it will last generations and generations. And it's just wonderful that we get to experience it. The Carnival's motto, again, apologies for my pronunciation, but quien lo vive es quien lo goza. Those who live it are those who enjoy it. So again, it's all about life and that vibrancy here. And then we travel to Nueva Valencia. And then we visit a stilt house village. So we've got little expedition ships. It's not this one. It's going to be very different, a lot newer. But, as the ship goes down the river, there's going to be smaller ships that kind of take us on safari all through the different places. And again, I reemphasize, it does not look like that ship, but you have that intimate kind of small ship experience. So again, we do the stilt house tour. And then we continue down and spend the night in Santa Barbara de Pinto. We've got a walking tour there. This is a unique place located on an island surrounded by an arm of the Magdalena River. This remote village was founded in 1540 and became an important Spanish trading post. Since then, it's become famous for its incredible jewelry, filigree jewelry, and it boasts incredible colonial churches. So again, for those of you that are religious and want to experience all that, this destination has it. And then, of course, we visit Mompox. It's a small town frozen in time, like a time capsule. While the rest of the country has evolved and modernized, Mompox pretty much looks like the way it used to during colonial times. And for this reason, again, it was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1995. Let's see, what else can I say? This town was founded in 1540, and it was an important Spanish trading post. Some Spaniards found it to be a haven for keeping gold and other treasure, protecting it from pirates along the coastline. So when Cartagena was an unsafe place to put gold back in the day, they would store it here in Mompox. So again, very rich society here. Lots of precious metals still are here. If you're looking for jewelry, this is the place to get it, right? And you'll learn a lot about this during your tour in the afternoon in Mompox. And again, street jazz performance just for us. No one else can do this. It's just us. And we sail through the La Mojana region. And then, of course, lots of exploration. So, this is a wonderful spot, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Moving on, we're going to El Banco. This is nestled kind of at the intersection of the Magdalena and the Cesar rivers. Founded in a local strategic spot for the native people. Obviously, at an intersection, you have a lot of trade. And with that trade, obviously, historically speaking, a little bit of slavery was going through there. But a famous story in 1749, a freed Black slave named Jose Domingo Ortiz led a group of settlers to this special location, and he carried with him a statue of the Virgin Mary, staking this place as their new home. So because of that, this became a real place for freedom, new beginnings, and new starts. And of course, the Virgin Mary is a hugely venerated figurehead in this particular region. So again, El Banco, pardon me, the days are wrong, but El Banco will be day 3. And again, lots of fun things you can do there. And then, of course, we've got Mangangwe. Magangwe. So bird watching tour here. These are not the traditional flamingos, but they are pink. The sights, the sounds of bird calls. This is a very wildlife destination. Colombian nature surrounding the city, and everyone goes on a bird watching tour. So you can really not only see the birds, but everything behind the birds, the beautiful, national forest and protected regions of this country. So again, a lot of heritage here with that. And then, of course, you can jump on these cute little bikes and things like that. So it's a fun time there. And as you can see, this picture really, I think, is Colombia in a nutshell. The colors, just, the pretty, and the movement and the adventure. And then we've got Palenque, right? This is a musical town, right? Founded by those who fled, again, a life of slavery during colonial times. Again, this is one of those towns that's been preserved through time. And I think the Spanish crown back in the day issued a royal decree that officially freed the people from slavery. So unlike the other town we went through, this town, by official decree, everyone was just freed. And of course, there's celebration and music brought from the Caribbean, brought from Africa, and it's got so much of a melting pot going on here. So very deeply rooted culture and traditions. And again, I know you might be getting sick of it. It's a UNESCO heritage site. It will never change, and it will continue on through the centuries. It's an absolute masterpiece of the oral traditions. And again, we get to play the drums and have a good time with everyone there. And then Cartagena, lastly. This is a beautiful coastal city. Many Spaniards flocked to this location when they heard of tales of gold found in the tombs of indigenous leaders. So this is very much like the beginnings of the conquest there, expanding this small, little tiny port into a giant, thriving city. So again, in Cartagena, we've got all kinds of tours and a special sundown cruise. So, a sundown cruise might look something like this when you're cruising through. And then, of course, we've got some optional packages if you want to add them to the beginning or to the end of your experience. 2 things I'd like to point out about Colombia as compared to the other exotic and European destinations we go to. Number 1, it's on the same time zone, which is wonderful. You don't get jet lag when you travel to Colombia. And then finally, number 2, it's about a 6-hour flight on average. So it's very close to us. Instead of having to travel 20 hours to Africa or, 8 to 12, depending on where you are, 20 hours to Europe, it's just so convenient to get here and experience a sunset like this. And for those folks that want to spend a little bit more time, we love to offer these optional land packages. So you can add a couple nights at the beginning, add a few nights at the end. What do those look like? So we can do Cartagena. It's a 2-night pre-cruise. And again, the hotels that we stay in are 4 5-star world-class hotels and resorts. It includes breakfast. It includes all the transfers. You also get tours and excursions included in the hotel stay by our cruise director. So whether you spend a couple days at the beginning or a couple days at the end on either side of the cruise director is going to be with you from the very beginning to the very end. So again, it's going to be a very seamless transition once you get off the plane. So a lot of fun that we can have in Cartagena, and again, really get your bearings before you dive into the adventure. And then the other option we've got is Panama City. This is a 3-night. And again, it includes a flight to Panama, hotel check-in, more tours, and like I said, 4 or 5-star property with breakfast. And we go to the Chagres National Park. So again, for the bird lovers, for the flora and the fauna, Panama City's really got that for you. And again, very modern. Panama City is going to give you that modern feel that you're just not going to find in Cartagena and things like that. So that's what we've got going on. Current promotions with regard to this group, depending on what you're trying to do, AmaWaterways, we always have promotions going on, different ways to incentivize you all to just get on the ship and travel with us. When you travel with Sheyla, you're going to get take advantage of a group discount because you're going with a few people, chosen VIPs that Sheyla works with. You're going to get that discount, and on top of that, as a special treat tonight, if any of you decide to book in the next 2 weeks, that's 14 days from today, I'll give you an additional $100 off. So that $100 will allow you to buy a really nice dinner or some really nice souvenirs when you're in destination. And then, of course, if you want to travel to any other destination, Sheyla can walk you through all the different promotions we have for Europe and places like that. So that, in a nutshell, is my presentation. I like to keep it short and sweet so that everyone has time for questions and answers at the end. I certainly see that we've got a couple of questions in the chat, but of course, if any of you have any questions right now, feel free to unmute and you can ask it, and either myself or Sheyla can answer whatever you've got going on. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. Your Spanish came okay.
Oh, gracias. Thank you.
You're welcome. So everybody, you can go ahead and unmute and ask any questions.
I can go ahead and stop the share so we can see each other. Okay. Medardo, Alfredo, Joanne. Are you asleep? If you have no questions for me, that's fine. You can reach out to Sheyla via email, via phone. Sheyla, do they have your contact information, or would you like to share?
Yes.
No?
Hello?
Yes.
There we go.
Hi.
Hello?
Hi, Medardo. We can hear you.
Okay. Well, I'm here with my wife. We were just in Europe in a river cruise. Was our first experience. It was wonderful.
Good.
We didn't choose your company, but we know a little bit more about you now. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we liked about what you showed us is that the rooms are larger than what we experienced. So that's important. But the question that I'm originally from Colombia, by the way. We live in the United States. We've been here 40 some years. I lived several times in Cartagena. So I know the city quite well. It's just gorgeous. It's a beautiful place to visit. We haven't been there in quite some time. My question is, I haven't been in a lot of those places, Monpós and El Banco, Magangué. By the way, Carson, it's Magangué.
Magangué.
Yeah, there you go.
Gracias.
That's all right. It's all right. I had to learn English as well, so no problem. So Palenque, etc. And so we wanted to get a flavor of what those little towns look like today. At the time, I don't know now, but a lot of poverty, etc. Monpós, I remember it being a gorgeous colonial city, a lot of gold artistry. Was based in that area from the natives. So we're interested, but we would like to get a better flavor of, what the locations look like. El Banco, Magangué, Palenque, what they look like today. And I was wondering, we can go to YouTube and see if we can find videos, but I don't know if you have them by any chance. Like when I see your promotions in Europe, you get a better flavor of, pictures of, Heidelberg and, Cologne, etc. And so it would be very, very helpful to get those. It would help one to make a decision.
Of course. Thank you for the the comments and the good question. First thing I'd like to approach is the comment that you made. You'd recently gotten off of a river cruise ship in Europe with one of the other guys, and you really were intrigued by how much space we've got on our ships, and particularly with the staterooms. Most of the other guys in Europe, I know how big their rooms are, and I know how many people are on board the ship. So Medardo, when it really comes down to it, the space for an individual on one of these small ships is defined by how many people are on board the boat. And it's highly likely, if, I think I know who you were with, they max out at about 192 people.
Correct.
The problem is that's smaller space for each person. There's a physical space thing, and then there's also the mental space, right? There's crowds on a ship like that. This particular ship, as you saw, has 62 people on it, very intimate. And the staff to guest ratio, I think, is 1 to 2, maybe 1 to 3. Like, there's going to be a lot of staff waiting on you, and they'll be able to remember your name because there's only 60 of you instead of 192. So you'll get that intimacy, you'll get that space, and any moments that you feel like you might be a little tight, like I wish the dining room was bigger. At the end of the day, the windows are the whole point of the experience. So you look out and you really feel more like you're on an exploration ship rather than a giant ocean cruiser. So the intimacy is actually designed in that way to give you that adventurous spirit.
Actually, your bedrooms look, or your suites look, staterooms, whatever you call them, they look wonderful.
Yeah, great. Yeah. And again, those staterooms are, typically what you find in Europe. We, as of yet, do not have exact images of the staterooms because they're not done yet. We don't have images of the staterooms for this particular ship, but we typically, it's very nice. It's going to be the same feel and vibe of the staterooms you saw, but it's going to be more Colombia. It's going to be more authentic to that destination and thematic to the places we're traveling. So instead of feeling like you're in a Marriott in Colombia, you're going to feel like you're more in a boutique hotel. And then the second thing I wanted to bring up too is, obviously I appreciate you doing your research. It's always nice chatting with somebody that knows a little bit about AmaWaterways. We do have a lot of pictures, a lot of videos of all the different places that we go in Europe because we've been going there for 22 years. It's very unfortunate. And again, it's a little bit of a give and take. One, we just don't have those photos and those videos yet because we haven't even started running. I think our marketing team is going to be flying in the next few months, and they're going to be taking pictures and videos to start the promotion for this particular itinerary. But the fun side of that too is, you being one of the first ones on the river, again, that adventure is there. The second part of what you were talking about is just, you were there many years ago, many decades ago. And, those little towns, you're asking what the quality is, is there, a little bit of decay or whatever the case might be. At the end of the day, a lot of these towns that we're traveling through, like I've mentioned, are UNESCO heritage sites. So they're designed and kept in the same state that they were centuries ago. So they can't modernize them except for safety protocol and stuff like that. In terms of that authenticity and perhaps, some of the local flavor, let's call it, when you're traveling to an exotic destination like that, that actually adds to the experience. And the best part is when you're traveling on a river cruise, on a luxury river cruise, you can always just return to the comforts and the luxury of your floating hotel, which is never far away from you. And it's always, when it's docked, very easy to walk on and off the ship. You know, there's a gangplank at all times, and it's very convenient for you to go off, do some exploration, and then come back and jump in the hot tub. So I can't really speak specifically to how the towns look, but obviously when we choose the destinations, and again, there's a lot of places we could go to, but when we choose these destinations, we put them through a rigorous filter system to make sure, are they AMA worthy? Are they authentic? And will our guests actually enjoy it? So again, I hope that kind of frames your question. I just unfortunately don't have any solid concrete photos and videos to show you, because we just don't have them yet.
Well, that's okay. I mean, if we do this trip, it would be around that time of the year, May of next year, because we just came back. But a few comments that might help you. I don't know if there are other people listening or not.
Yeah.
I know the quality of the people in Colombia is just fantastic. They love to welcome people. Very, very customer oriented. I think the cuisine people would love there. The hospitality, you know, people would love there. So so I think that, you know, that's great. And I think that's what people would experience. I'm also very complimentary of your company going to Colombia. There's no other company doing that. And a little bit of a personal note to both of you. My mother passed away last year, and I remember when there were steamboats in the Magdalena River, and she took them a couple of times. And so I remember her stories, you know, growing up, when she was growing up with, you know, what my grandpa and grandma just going through the river. And I always dreamt of, boy, wouldn't it be wonderful to have a river cruise in the Magdalena? So hopefully we'll make it. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your question and for your comments. I have been able to experience sailing on board of AmaWaterways twice, and the service and the quality of the overall experience is second to none. I was able to visit Colombia last year, November, and I also had an incredible experience. And when AMA announced that they were going to do this itinerary in Colombia, I was ecstatic, and I was like, okay, this is like similar to where I'm from. We have similar cultures, similar backgrounds. I am from Cuba, so I think that Colombia kind of complements my background, and I thought it would be amazing to have you all come with me next year. And we are not the first one to be on the river, but we probably will be the fifth or sixth itinerary to go. So I am sure that by February I will have some videos and pictures, so no worries.
Okay, excellent. Do you have pricing information at this time or not yet?
Yes, we do.
And would that be at the AMA website, or?
I'm gonna post the link right here on the chat, so you can just go and check it out.
Also, if I may point out, because Sheyla did lock in this pricing for this group, and it has the group amenities, and then of course I'm offering that $100 discount should you decide to just put down a deposit in the next couple of weeks with her. You know, I do want to point out that Sheyla was smart. She locked in the pricing, and it will not go up. So that's one of the benefits of booking with her.
Okay. I think when we signed up, Sheyla, we submitted our email. And could you send me this link to my email, please?
I will do that for sure.
It'd be a lot easier.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Alfredo or Joan? Okay. Well, if you do have any questions, you know how to get in touch with her. And if you've got a question she can't answer, she'll get in touch with me, and we'll get it all figured out for you. So that's what teamwork's all about. We really appreciate our partnership, Sheyla.
Okay. We appreciate you and your time, and thank you for an incredible presentation. And thank you everybody for coming tonight. I appreciate your time and for listening. And I hope that you join me on our adventure in Colombia next year. I can't wait. It's going to be so good.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.